careful. So listening, pay attention.
Oh, yeah.
You're looking for capitals?
It's the final day of John Bayley's special investigation at Eltham Green School in South London. He's been looking for ways of raising the performance of a group of difficult and underachieving Year 10 girls, and has met 3 teachers with their own individual approaches, some more successful than others. His final sessions with Jenna Peters, head of geography.
Right, where's everyone else? Where's Alex gone? Here they are, hon.
Jenna's worked hard to try and understand the girls and what motivates them.
Is Rachel in today?
Yeah, I'll bring it in first thing tomorrow morning, I promise.
They, in turn, seem to respect her.
I watched the starter of the lesson in absolute admiration. It was sensational. Then I realised my camera wasn't turned on. So, starter was great. Let's pick up the main part of the lesson.
All right, OK. Yeah, there they are.
OK, here we go.
Now, what we're going to do today is we're just going to have a bit of a review lesson, OK? We're going to spend the first part of the lesson, the first 50 minutes, doing a bit of a revision, OK? You're going to be using all your notes in your book, looking back over them, doing some stuff on the board, you know, the quiz questions, and really getting our minds back thinking about weather and climate. Wait for Reese, thank you. And then we're going to do the second part of the lesson. You're actually going to do a proper exam question, OK? You've done all the work to lead up to it, and I'm going to see how you get on with actually doing an exam question in controlled conditions. And then, obviously, tomorrow we can look over that question and see how you got on. Right, first things first, right back to the beginning of our course. Who can tell me a definition for the word weather? We all know what the weather is, but what about a good definition for a geography exam? Rachel?
The day-to-day changes.
In the
atmosphere.
Fantastic. The day-to-day change in the atmosphere. If that's the weather, what's then the climate? The climate, Carla.
Changes over a number of years.
Do you remember how many years, roughly? Fantastic.
Just talk to me about that group of girls at the back of the room.
I do feel that them sitting together actually is a positive thing, and they may come in one day when they've had a row or something else and want to sit by themselves, but as a group of 4 they actually do share ideas together. Yeah. But I am aware that I do need to go and visit them and give them that reassurance, as you say. I think it's very much important that I do go there and say, that's a good piece of work and you've actually shown the answer there and demonstrated different things, so it definitely is that reassurance.
Right, I need help.
Yeah. Right, so why... Do you remember doing all that work then, Sam, about why Britain... You know, we said all about, like, why do people think that the weather's so changeable in the UK? Why do people, you know, when people say British should just talk about the weather all the time?
Because it depends on where the wind's coming from.
Where was the wind coming from?
Africa.
Africa, fantastic. So it was warmer air. Do you remember?
So the answer is the weather in the UK is so changeable because it all depends on where the wind is coming from.
Fantastic. And then you could actually name a couple of the different types, couldn't you? You could actually say, maybe Sam could say one of them, you could say one of them. Yes, Sam? So, you know, we talked about the weather coming from Africa. You can find out what the word is called for it to come over the land as opposed to the sea in your diagram in your work. Yeah? Brilliant. OK. Fantastic.
Now, there's Rachel.
Yeah.
Is she one of the children in the underachievers group?
She's not, but she's one of the girls that we've mentioned that possibly should have been in that group.
But there she is. She looks bright as a button. What's she like as a learner?
She loves pleasing me, to be honest. Again, she's in my tutor group. She really enjoys the subject. She chose geography because the whole world around her really intrigues her. And also, she needs that confidence. She's very good friends with the group on that table, but probably Rachel and Reese, the girl opposite her, are the brightest girls, and they actually do support the other 2 on the table. She's the kind of student that should be achieving the A's again because she's got so much more awareness of what's going on.
She's pleased she's given you a good answer.
Yeah.
That's an alert, happy face, isn't it?
Who's going to be able to give me, like, a little weather forecast of London? We're going to do another one in a moment of central Scotland. Carla?
It's 6 degrees, it's sunshine with a bit of rain. It has a wind speed of 30 miles per hour coming from the south, and yeah.
Brilliant. That's really, really good.
So there's Carla.
Yes.
She's in that group. What's she doing in there? Because she looks to me like a clever cookie.
She is clever. And she was like, I loved geography. I really, really want to take it. And it was the fact that I said, you could do really well. We could work really well together and, you know, you can achieve well in this subject. And with that reassurance, I think it's made such a difference to her. And she's one of the ones that will come along often in the evening for me to go through things with her. Or just to be there, actually, often with me in the room. Just because I'm there and she can just check, is this all right? Have I set this out right? Can I just go over something with you? So it's just that reassurance of someone going through things with her.
A few definitions to get us thinking. Water cycle definitions, OK? Right at the beginning, the very important thing that we know. Let's see. OK, Reese. The process by which the vapour cools down and turns back into a liquid. Fantastic. OK, brilliant. Carla, you can try one for me? Next one. Think about it before you come up. Water that falls onto the Earth's surface. For example, rain, snow, hail. See if you can come up and guess that one. You got something in your mind first?
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
Precipitation.
Let's see if it's right. Fantastic. Precipitation. OK.
There's a girl at the back, Sam, who hasn't had her book for weeks. All the work's done beautifully on paper, but it's the whole thing. If I shouted at her, it wouldn't help. It's like, we really need the book in school. You know, I really want to sit down with you, I want to mark it, I want to go through things with you. I think with the boys, sometimes some of them respond quite well to being like, that's not good enough, and shouting at them, whereas the girls, often they get totally affronted by that and you're not their friend anymore. They don't want to talk to you, they'll just close up.
Looking at your notes, Samantha, do you remember if the air's coming across the sea, is it maritime or continental if it's coming over the sea?
Maritime.
Maritime. And then, Sam, if it's coming over the land, it's called?
Continental.
Continental. Fantastic.
The girls want constant feedback and constant praise, and the boys are quite happy just to work through and get to the end.
OK. I mean, it's interesting, because as you know, a national argument rages about whether it's just good teaching or whether there are things that you particularly have to bear in mind with girls and boys.
Excellent. Very, very dry conditions. OK? But we had an interesting conversation on the back table there that didn't agree with drought being the odd one out. What do you think the odd one out was, Rachel?
Wind speed.
Why?
Because to get drought, you have to have a higher temperature with no precipitation, which causes drought. So all them three.
So they looked at it in a totally different way, and they actually added some words in there to think about the conditions that make up a drought. Excellent.
In a mixed ability group, which that is a mixed ability group, you need to have learning at the level that they can all access at the beginning, but they have the opportunity to get more detailed into it if the need arises. I think sometimes there is this obviously conscious responsibility that everyone has to get a baseline level in something, but within mixed ability there has to be that group work, that sharing ideas to enable them to actually progress and achieve their own potential. So there has to be a balance of independent work, small group work, and obviously sharing this whole class discussion. Because as we said before, when a child actually says a word, and sometimes I get them to repeat words back to me, they're difficult concepts, they're difficult words to learn. And I think that just this whole thing of getting the kids actively involved in the lesson, speaking to them, really makes a difference to their learning.
Do you remember what would the thermometer measure?
The temperature.
Yeah, remember? What about the weather vane then?
Where the wind's blowing.
Where the wind's blowing from?
Yeah.
Brilliant. And then the other one, rain gauge, what does that measure?
How much?
Yeah, fantastic. Really good.
As a group, because it's so small, it gives me the opportunity to do lots of moving around the room, just talking to them, but they like lots of little exercises. They love targets, they love, but you've got 15 minutes to do this, and they will all reach that target, and there's always the opportunity for extension work for the ones that are moving more through it, but I think structure with that group really works.
Brilliant. Right, what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to spread you out around the classroom, and we're actually going to do a practice test. You're only going to have 30 minutes to do that, because that's how much time we have in the exam. I don't want you to panic over this.
So we have a group of girls who are underachieving. We can say something general about them, which is that they need encouragement.
Yeah.
And that the dynamic of the group is pretty important to them. And you said that thing, when they come in as a group and they're working well, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if someone's fallen out with somebody else, you've got to pay attention to that.
Yes, and it's not about this whole thing about the students liking you, but it's about them respecting you and actually appreciating that you're there to enable them to learn. And I think there's kind of, it's lost sometimes, it's this whole just like, right, you've got to get through this. I do think it also comes down to their aspirations. They still can't quite believe that next year is the possibility of them leaving school. And sometimes when they haven't done their homework, and I'll remind them that this is a GCSE and that this will make such a difference to your life, they're all of a sudden realising this isn't just school anymore, this is my future and this is going to be my career. And when you had that chat with them, then you do see a noticeable difference the next lesson, because they're suddenly thinking, this is really important.
In line with Jenna's approach, Bayley thinks it's vital that the girls get a better understanding of the teaching process and that the staff spend time watching each other work. He's about to deliver his conclusions to Deputy Head Jenny Gould.
So one of the things that I want to do is get some teachers to to regularly attend the girls' group, where they will talk about aspects of teaching and do a kind of question and answer session, just for 15 minutes. And the short-term object is that the girls get to know a bit more about what's going on in the classroom.
It seemed kind of important, that, but another side of me is kind of thinking, oh no, they shouldn't do that. It sounds like it ought to be a secret from them, you know. It seems quite dangerous somehow, you know. I don't know why. It's, but no, I think it's a good idea. I think it's because they're certainly clever enough to be able to talk about it in those terms.
Well, yeah, that's right. I know what you mean. But the DFES want to get students evaluating lessons. Right. Ofsted are going to go around asking children to evaluate lessons. And how can children evaluate lessons unless they've got some evaluative criteria?
Because what I don't want to happen is I don't want children, the young people in the school, in a lesson then saying, oh, I didn't like that starter, sir, you know, rubbish or whatever. I don't want them to be, I don't want them saying that, you know, in the middle of the lesson. To kind of say, I don't like how this is going, this is nonsense. And I don't know why I'm saying that, because they're right to say it. If they don't feel they're getting the goods, really, I suppose they have every right. It's something about power relationships, I think, that I'm just a little bit uneasy about.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because now, if they don't like it...
Well, they misbehave.
The girls start chatting and the boys start throwing things. So we already know when they don't like what's happening in the lesson. What they don't have right now is a language for...
Yeah.
And also, the girls... And go on, admit it, you've heard of lessons, and I have too. Girls will say, this is a crap lesson, sir. And when they do say it, we usually punish them, or we say that's not appropriate. We say it's against the rules.
Yeah. It'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it, to do a kind of action research where they both, the teacher and the student, a few students, you know, evaluate the lesson perhaps after the lesson.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Ask me back and I'll start doing it tomorrow. But except you don't need an outsider, do you? Once you've got the idea, it's sort of quite clear. I just like some short things about teachers' craft. Here's why we do a starter. Here's how summing up at the end of the lesson works. Here's why we do group work. And see what they do with it.
Bayley's hoping the school will implement his ideas, which he thinks will give the girls a sense of empowerment and will help the teachers raise their game.